Hello everyone. The next topic which we will be discussing is about the acetyl coenzyme A. So acetyl coenzyme A is a molecule that participates in many biochemical reactions in protein, carbohydrate and the lipid metabolism. So its main function is to deliver the acetyl group to the citric acid cycle, that is also known as the Krebs cycle, to be oxidized for energy production. So introduction part is acetyl coenzyme A. It is a central metabolite intermediate. So this particular diagram structure is the structure of the acetyl coenzyme A structure. Now, acetyl coenzyme A or coenzyme A consists of the beta macroethylamine group, which is linked to the vitamin pantothenic group or acid through a amide linkage and 3-phosphorylated ADP. So let's discuss about the history of the amino acids. Now, the history of amino acids is the two scientists in 1934 was awarded the Nobel Prize for their discoveries that was linked to the acetyl coenzyme A and the fatty acid metabolism. So these were the two scientists, Bloch and Lenin, that were the two scientists. They were awarded the Nobel Prize for this. And later in the 1953, Lippmann, he won the Nobel Prize for his discovery of the factor, the cofactor of the coenzyme A. So he gave the cofactor, that is the coenzyme A. So he also got the Nobel Prize in the 1953 year. Now this is a Krebs cycle. So here the acetyl coenzyme A is being seen, which will release in the form of the coenzyme A. So let's discuss this cycle first. So cycle starts with the citrate. So the citrate gets converted into isocitrate through the enzyme acetonase. After this, there is a NADPS D plus which gets converted into NADH, and it will release the CO2 molecule as well. It further gets converted into alpha ketoglutarate. Then there is a coenzyme A which is being added here. So you can see that there is a function of coenzyme here. So it will get converted into succinyl coenzyme A. And with the help of this enzyme, that is the succinyl coenzyme A synthase, it further gets converted into succinate, releasing the coenzyme A factor. After the succinate, the enzyme acts as succinic dehydrogenase. So here FAD, FAD is being converted to FADH2, and it further converted into fumarate. And fumarate, where this is the enzyme which is being used, so there is a water which is being added here, and it gets converted into maltate. After this, there is a maltate dehydrogenase enzyme which acts, and it converts the NAD plus to and gets converted to NADH. So oxaloacetate is being formed. And finally, the acetyl coenzyme A, which is the main topic of our discussion, is acetyl coenzyme A only. So the acetyl coenzyme A gets converted to coenzyme A factor. So this was about the Krebs cycle. That it's basically to show that the acetyl coenzyme A plays a major role in the cellular respiration in the Krebs cycle. So we will be discussing the functions of acetyl coenzyme A as well. So before that, we will first discuss what are the sources of acetyl coenzyme A. So the main source of acetyl coenzyme A is by the breakdown of glucose through glycolysis and by beta oxidation of the fatty acids. Now, the pyruvate, it is produced at the end of the glycolysis and it gets converted to acetyl coenzyme A by oxidative decarboxylation. So this is the source of the acetyl coenzyme A. Now, the functions of the acetyl coenzyme A. So as I have told you that it is involved in the cellular respiration. So acetyl coenzyme A is involved in the cellular respiration. The next, it is involved in the citric acid cycle. So through a series, so we have discussed the citric acid cycle. So through a series of chemical reactions being stored, energy is released through the oxidation of acetyl coenzyme A, which has been derived from the carbohydrates, fats, and proteins into ATP and the carbon dioxide. Next comes is the acetylation. So in case of acetylation, the acetyl coenzyme A is the source of acetyl group, as the name suggests. So it is incorporated onto certain lysine residues of histone and non-histone proteins in the post-translational modification of acetylation. So this acetylation, it has been catalyzed by the acetyl transferase, and this acetylation, it affects the it affects the cell growth, it affects the mitosis and apoptosis, that is the cell death. So this was about it. Then comes the acetyl choline synthesis. So here acetyl coenzyme A is also an important component in the biogenic synthesis of the neurotransmitter, that is the acetyl choline. So choline in combination with acetyl coenzyme A is being catalyzed by the enzyme, that is the choline acetyl transferase, and it will produce acetyl. What it will produce? It will produce the acetyl choline and coenzyme A. Next is the steroid synthesis. So acetyl coenzyme A participates in the mevalonate pathway by partaking in the synthesis of hydroxymethyl butyryl coenzyme A. Next is about the fatty acid synthesis. So it is the breakdown of both the carbohydrates by the process of glycolysis, lipids by the process of beta oxidation. It will enter the citric acid cycle in the mitochondrion by winning with the oxaloacetate to form the citrate. So there is a long process. This is a long process of fatty acid metabolism, but the acetyl coenzyme A do play a role in the fatty acid metabolism. So this was all about the acetyl coenzyme A. These are some of the references. Thank you.